The deadline for college applications had just passed when I happened to find out that my childhood sweetheart, Chloe, had given my exact application choices to the class heartthrob. Her best friend was the one who asked her, right where I could hear them. "Did you really just let Mark copy his entire application list?" her friend asked, sounding confused. "Mark's SAT score is higher than Alex's. NYU doesn't accept that many kids from our state, so there's a really good chance he'll knock Alex out of the running completely." Chloe just shrugged, a motion so casual it made my stomach tighten. "If he gets bumped, that's on him for not having a better score. Besides," she added, lowering her voice slightly, "my family owes Marks. This is just me paying them back." I froze. A cold feeling spread through my chest. She was going to pay her family's debt with my future. I couldn't even process the betrayal. I just turned around and walked away, my hands fumbling for my phone. I dialed my grandfather's number. "Grandpa," I said, my voice tight. "I'll do it. I'll go study abroad." Later, Chloe followed me all the way to the United States, after I had already left. "You're really breaking up with me over one single college application?" she demanded, tears in her eyes. I didn't say a word. I just played the recording I had saved on my phone. Her face went pale as she listened to her own voice. That night was a get-together Chloe had organized, held in a private room at her family's hotel. I found myself standing outside the door, my hand gripping the doorknob, but I couldn't bring myself to push it open. I could already hear Chloe's voice clearly from inside. "Mark already had to repeat a year. He worked his butt off for this score. Alex's score is only 3 points lower than his. My mom hired an expert to help him with his applications, so if Alex can get in, Mark is basically a lock." Then she said the part that really stopped my heart. "Alex is still young. If he doesn't get in, it's not a big deal. He can just repeat senior year. I'll have my mom hire the most expensive tutors for him, and he can just apply again next year. Besides, what does it matter what college he goes to? He's going to be my husband after graduation anyway. Once he's with me, how could his life possibly be bad?" Someone in the room teased her. "Chloe, I thought for a second you were actually dumping Alex for the class heartthrob. Turns out you're still completely hung up on him." "Seriously," another voice chimed in. "Your taste is terrible. What does a poor kid like Alex have on someone like Mark?" Chloe's voice dropped, taking on a warning tone. "What are you talking about? I'm just paying back a debt to Mark. When Alex gets here, don't you dare joke around like that." But her friends kept teasing her. "Come on, Miss Hayes. You're the heiress to the entire Hayes group. You really have to let your man walk all over you like that?" "Yeah, if it weren't for your family, Alex's grandmother would be long dead, and he'd be a certified orphan." Chloe didn't defend me. She just said flatly, "Mark is a great guy, and it's true Alex doesn't compare in some ways. But you guys don't understand what Alex and I have." Standing outside the door, my stomach was churning. Just then, I heard Mark's voice from right behind me. "Alex? What are you doing standing out here? Why don't you go in?" The conversation inside the room stopped cold. Mark and his buddy flanked me, practically pushing me into the private room. The moment I walked in, Chloe sat up straight, a flicker of unease in her eyes that she quickly masked with her usual defiant expression. "Alex, you're here. Why were you eavesdropping at the door?" I was stunned. She was the one who had done something so incredibly wrong, and now she was turning it around on me. How could she so casually say things like, "Big deal, you can just repeat a year"? When we were filling out our applications, Chloe had whined endlessly that NYU was right next to Columbia, where she was applying, and she didn't want to be separated from me. She was so domineering about it that she wouldn't even let me apply anywhere else, insisting I had to be with her. She swore up and down that her mom had hired the best application consultant and that I was a shoo-in for NYU. But even now, after the application deadline had passed, she never once told me that Mark might push me out, or that I should probably change my preferences just in case. If I hadn't accidentally overheard all this today, I would have never known the real reason if I didn't get in. I walked up and stared straight at Chloe. You used my future to pay off your family's debt, and you have the nerve to accuse me of eavesdropping? Chloe was unfazed. Do you have to be so dramatic? I already said if you really don't get in, I'll hire the best tutors for you. You'll get in next year. Besides, if you get rejected, who can you blame? Blame yourself for not scoring higher than Mark. The other students around us started to turn on me. Alex, how dare you question Chloe? Have you forgotten who pays your bills? Yeah. If it wasn't for Chloe's family, your grandma would have been dead by now. Chloe basically gave you a second chance at life. Her mom's life was saved by Mark's dad. What's wrong with your second mother asking you to help repay a debt? I ignored the chorus of voices and kept my eyes locked on Chloe. Is that what you think too? A flash of panic crossed Chloe's face, but she stood her ground. I know repeating a year is tough, Alex, but you know I had my reasons. Can't you just try to understand, just this once? You're going to be my husband anyway. It's only natural for a husband to help his wife repay a debt. I almost laughed at her shamelessness. Fine, I've paid your family's debt for you. From now on, I don't owe you anything. Chloe grabbed my arm, her voice edged with panic. What's that supposed to mean? I forcefully pulled my arm away from her. It means that from this moment on, we're done. With that, I turned and walked toward the door, only to be blocked by Mark. Alex, don't be mad at Chloe. If you're going to blame anyone, blame me. After my dad passed away, there was no one at home to help me with these things. I waited until the very last hour to call Chloe in a panic. I figured our scores were pretty close, so I could just copy your application choices. I honestly didn't think it might cause you to get rejected. Chloe must have forgotten to tell you to change yours because she was running out of time. He grabbed my arm, his face a mask of desperation, trying to hold me back. But his fingernails dug painfully into the soft flesh of my bicep. Wincing, I shoved him away. He stumbled and fell straight to the floor. Mark acted like he was seriously hurt, struggling to get up before collapsing weakly again. His eyes were red, welling up with tears. Alex, if hitting me will make you feel better, then go ahead. I'll let you. He closed his eyes, bracing for a punch, as a single tear rolled down his cheek. Chloe rushed over, pushed me aside, and gently helped Mark up. Then she whirled on me, her voice sharp. Apologize to Mark, now. I can't believe you're so petty. It's just a college application and you're going to hit a classmate over it? Mark's friend chimed in from the side. I think you're just jealous of Mark. Jealous his test scores are better than yours, and jealous that since he transferred here, Chloe hasn't been paying as much attention to you. Once he started, Chloe's friends all piled on. That's right. Without Chloe, you're nothing. Before Mark came, Chloe put you on a pedestal. Now that he's here, she doesn't spoil you as much, so you're holding a grudge. Mark was leaning his head on Chloe's shoulder, his bangs hiding most of his face. But through the gap, I saw the corner of his mouth curl into a triumphant smirk. Looking at this room full of liars and sycophants, I realized there was no point in arguing. They had already built their narrative. Nothing I said would matter. Leaving the chattering crowd behind, I turned and left the room. The incessant voices followed me out. See, Chloe? I told you you've spoiled him rotten. We were all fooled before, thinking he was some rich kid. Everyone fawned over him, but it turns out he's just an orphan riding your coattails. Just let him have his tantrum. If you ask me, you and Mark are the perfect match. Chloe's voice was tinged with anger. Can you all just shut your damn mouths? Who are you to criticize Alex? I'm the only one who gets to talk about him. He was out of line hitting someone today, so he deserves a lesson. I'll let your gossiping slide this time. I made it all the way to the taxi stand, and Chloe never came after me. When I got home, my grandma asked me, "Didn't Chloe invite you out for dinner? Why are you back so soon?" I didn't want my grandma to know that Chloe and I had broken up, so I just mumbled an excuse about not feeling well. Back in my bedroom, I buried my face in my pillow and pressed my hands against my face, trying to hold it all in. Memories of me and Chloe flashed through my mind like a movie. Chloe and I had known each other since we were in diapers. When she was 6, she made a wish on her birthday candles to marry me when she grew up. Chloe's mother, Mrs. Hayes, was my mom's best friend. She had helped my parents start their company and grow it. It was only later that she left to start the Hayes Group with Mr. Hayes. When I was 8, my parents died in a car crash. My aunt and uncle practically held me and my grandma hostage, trying to force us to sign away our inheritance. Chloe came to comfort me, but they blocked her at the door, so she shimmied up a drain pipe, climbed into my room where I was locked up, and helped me call the police. When Mrs. Hayes and her husband found out, they got us the best lawyers who helped us secure my parents' estate. At the time, my grandma was devastated by the loss of her daughter and disgusted by my uncle's greed. She was in a daze. She begged Mrs. Hayes to manage the company for me. Mrs. Hayes said she was stretched thin with her own company, but she said if we were willing, she could merge my parents' company into the Hayes Group. My grandma and I would become shareholders and receive dividends every year, ensuring we'd be financially secure for life. My grandma, who had been a countrywoman her whole life, knew nothing about business. All she heard was that giving the company to Mrs. Hayes would guarantee my future. So she signed the merger agreement. Mrs. Hayes never skimped on money for me. She raised me like a prince and told Chloe to look out for me at school. Later, when Grandma got liver cancer, it was Mrs. Hayes who supposedly donated part of her liver and flew in the best specialist from D.C. for the surgery. I felt like I could never repay Mrs. Hayes's kindness. After my parents died, I was completely lost. Chloe was always trying to find ways to cheer me up, and with her by my side, I slowly came out of the darkness. Our bond lasted for 18 years. I was protected by Chloe for 18 years. Even with Mark in the picture recently, I never once thought about leaving her. That's why when she forcefully demanded I apply to the school next to hers, I went along with her domineering request. But I never imagined that my college application was something she could just give away to someone else. She would go off to college with other people, starting a vibrant new life. And I might be left behind, forced to go through senior year all over again. Some feelings, once they change, are no longer worth holding on to. Whether I got rejected or not, I didn't want to go to NYU anymore. But I had worked so hard for so many years. Why should I be the one forced to repeat a year just to get into college? With that thought, I sat up and dialed my grandfather's number again. "Grandpa, I've thought it through. I want to go study in the States." I fell asleep, with swollen red eyes. Early the next morning, Grandma knocked on my door. "Alex, time to get up. Chloe brought you those fancy cronuts you love." I couldn't understand how Chloe could show up at my house acting like nothing had happened, but I didn't want Grandma to worry, so I got up, washed my face, and went to the dining room for breakfast. While Grandma was in the kitchen getting my oatmeal, Chloe put on a playful, shameless grin. "Come on, Your Highness. A whole night has passed. Can you stop being mad now? I went and stood in line first thing this morning to get your favorite cronuts. Look, I barely slept. My eyes are all bloodshot." She leaned her face close to mine. I ignored her. She claimed she hadn't slept, but she hadn't even noticed my own swollen eyes. Just then, Grandma came out with the oatmeal and set it in front of me. "You should be relaxing now that your exams are over. After you eat, you two go have some fun. Don't hang around here with this old lady." After breakfast, Chloe and I left the house together. As soon as we got downstairs, I started walking in the opposite direction. Chloe blocked my path. "Mark felt terrible after you left yesterday. You completely ruined a perfectly good party. He said he wants to buy you a coffee today to apologize. For my sake, can you just let this go?" So, she wasn't here to genuinely make it up to me. She was on a mission from Mark. My voice was cold. "If you want coffee, you two can go get it yourselves. Now move. I'm going to the bookstore to buy some English prep books." Chloe kicked a nearby fence, the iron bars rattling loudly. "Are you bringing up English books on purpose? Is this to remind me that you fell behind in English because you were busy tutoring me and Mark in physics?" I looked at her like she was an idiot. "So you do realize I fell behind because I was tutoring you two?" Her voice rose unconsciously. "I didn't force you to tutor me. You're the one who told my mom you'd handle my physics, and tutoring one person is the same as tutoring two. Mark was just a bonus. Besides, your aversion to English is your own psychological issue. You can't blame me just because it dragged down your score." I felt like I didn't even know this new Chloe. When did she become so shameless and unreasonable? She was the one who originally said her tutors weren't as patient as me and begged me to teach her. After I agreed, she brought Mark along. "Alex, Mark's dad died saving my mom from a truck. Can you please teach him too?" At the time, thinking of Mrs. Hayes's kindness, I'd nodded. But Mark's foundation was so weak that I ended up spending almost all my free time helping him catch up in physics. And English had always been a sore spot for me, yet today, Chloe was intentionally poking that wound. My voice was heavy. I made myself clear. "Yesterday. We are done. Don't come to my house again, and don't try to use my grandma to get to me. Grandma's health isn't good. She can't handle stress, so she doesn't know we've broken up." Chloe's eyes were wide with disbelief. "You're really breaking up with me?" "Yes. A breakup is a breakup." She stormed off in a huff. "Why can't you be more like Mark? He's always so gentle and understanding. Even though our family owes him, he's never thrown a tantrum with me." She still thought I was just throwing a tantrum. In her mind, I was supposed to just quietly accept the possibility of being rejected and having to repeat a year. I picked out some IELTS prep books at the bookstore and was heading home. While waiting for the bus, I ran into the ever-present pair, Mark and Chloe. Mark was dragging a reluctant-looking Chloe. He came up to me and bowed deeply. "Alex, please don't fight with Chloe because of me anymore. Repeating a year is no big deal. Look, I did it once, too. You'll have Mrs. Hayes to hire the best teachers for you. Not like me. If my dad hadn't traded his life for this chance, I never would have been able to re-enroll at a top prep school. I studied like crazy this past year, and luckily my scores were decent. I only asked Chloe for help because I really didn't want to waste my score. If I had known this would cause you to get bumped, I would have rather not applied at all." I finally couldn't take it anymore and snapped at him. "Are you insane? It's not my fault you had to repeat a year. That's on you for not studying hard before. Why should I have to repeat a year just because you did? And don't you know how you got that score? Without me, would your physics score have gone up by 40 points? All you had to do was ask, and Mrs. Hayes would have found someone to help you with your applications. But no, you had to wait until the last hour before the deadline to call brainless Chloe and ask to reference my application. You know damn well what you were doing." Mark lowered his head, wringing his hands. "Alex, I'm not like you. Mrs. Hayes plans out and arranges everything for you without you even having to ask. I was afraid to ask her, afraid she'd think I was trying to exploit her gratitude. Even calling Chloe took a lot of courage. I don't understand why you think so badly of me. Maybe it's because if you were in my shoes, you'd deliberately do something so malicious." I was about to go crazy from his ability to twist things around. Furious, I shoved him. Chloe quickly steadied him from behind. "Alex, that's enough. This is the second time Mark has apologized to you, and it's the second time you've hit him. Don't you forget his father died saving my mom. What right do you have to bully a boy who's lost his father? Damn it. I went crazy and threw the books in my hand right at Chloe. While she was stunned, I swung my arm and slapped her hard across the face. If your eyes are useless, you might as well gouge them out. Did you? See that? This is how I hit someone. I already told you we're through. Why do you insist on bringing him here to disgust me? So it's tough for him to repeat a year. And that means I have to do it. He doesn't have a father. He's pitiful. But it's not my fault he doesn't have a dad. Chloe clutched her swelling face, her expression one of pure disbelief. Don't you forget my mom is your grandmother's savior. My heart grew colder. Yes, I admit that. And as I said, I've repaid the debt you owe Mark for you. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Mark touched Chloe's face and roared at me. Alex, what gives you the right to be so arrogant? You're just a jinx who got his own parents killed. Just an orphan. Without Mrs. Hayes, you and your grandmother would probably be begging on the streets right now. Mark's words made me freeze. Only those closest to me knew that my parents had been on their way to pick me up from English class when they had the car accident. That's why I had such an aversion to English. My eyes turned red. I lunged at the fuming Mark and slapped him back and forth until his face was swollen. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I was doing just fine at school. Ever since you transferred, I haven't had a single good day. You found out from Chloe that my parents were gone and I was living off dividends from the Hayes Group, so you went around school saying I was just Chloe's lackey. That if you were me, you'd be sucking up to your meal ticket. That I didn't know my place. If the Hayes Group hadn't taken over my family's clients back in the day, would they have survived their startup phase so easily? And you slandered me, calling me ungrateful and saying I treated Chloe like property. Chloe was surrounded by a bunch of good-for-nothing friends who just wanted to party with her. It was Mrs. Hayes who told me to keep an eye on her, so I was just trying to stop her from going down the wrong path. You said your dad gave his life for Mrs. Hayes, that you have more right than me to ask things of Chloe. You pitied her for having to deal with an unreasonable person like me, so you couldn't bear to make demands on her. What demands did I ever make? I've lived this life since I was born. All those things Chloe gave me, didn't she give them willingly? But have you really not made any demands? Who bought you that huge condo you live in? Did your mom find those designer clothes you're wearing in a dumpster? Did that watch on your wrist fall from the sky? When you had a fever in the middle of the night, did you or did you not call Chloe to take you to the hospital? You led everyone to call me a fake rich kid and isolate me. And now you're acting all magnanimous in front of me? Give me a break. Chloe rushed over, trying to hold me back as I was getting more and more agitated. Alex, calm down. Mark just accidentally let it slip that you get dividends from my family. He didn't mean any harm. It was the other students who thought that way on their own. I stomped on Chloe's foot, and she cried out in pain, letting go of me. I turned and slapped her a few more times. You trash! You told this scumbag my deepest wound, and you still have the nerve to defend him? I glared at them both fiercely. From now on, if you see me, you walk the other way. Otherwise, I'll beat you up every single time I see you. Just then, the car I'd called arrived. I yanked open the door and got in. Before I shut the door, I heard Mark's tearful voice. Chloe, what do we do? I only said the wrong thing because I got upset when he hit you. I made him angry. I really was just trying to fix things between you two. It's okay. I know you meant well. He's just angry right now. I'll sweet-talk him a bit after he cools down. He can't live without me. I slammed the door. Listening to those two disgusting people any longer would just pollute my ears. In the taxi on the way back, I blocked both of them. Thankfully, they didn't show up in front of me for the next few days. The study abroad consultant my grandfather found for me contacted me to ask about my intended major. Thinking about how I'd even given up my favorite subject, physics, To accommodate Chloe for my college applications this time, I answered without hesitation. Physics. The consultant carefully analyzed my scores and believed I'd have no problem getting into the applied physics program at MIT in the States. The main issue now was my poor English. I had to submit an IELTS score of 6.5 by October. Thinking of my SAT English score of 98, this seemed impossible, but the consultant reassured me that I could get a conditional acceptance and attend a language program first. My grandfather was anxious to get me over to the States for the language program immediately, but I couldn't bear to leave my grandma. I begged him to wait until after the national holiday to bring me over, promising I would study English seriously here in the meantime. Years ago, my grandfather had opposed my parents' marriage because of the difference in their family status. My dad left the Monroe family with my mom and returned to her hometown to start from scratch. Furious at my dad's defiance, my grandfather moved to the States to live with my aunt. He waited for years for my dad to back down, but it never happened. Finally, he sent people back to find my dad, only to learn that my parents had died in a car accident. He wanted to take me to the States back then, but at the time, all I could think about was what Mrs. Hayes had told me, how my grandfather had made things difficult for my mom and caused her a lot of pain. I strongly resisted him. On top of that, I couldn't leave my grandma, and I didn't want to part with Chloe, so I refused. Last year, my grandfather found me again and asked me to study in the States, and I refused him again. But last year, my grandma found out that my grandfather had contacted me and tried to persuade me to go back. Then, your grandfather just really disliked your uncle and wanted your mom to cut ties with him. It was me who was foolish and insisted on defending your uncle, Grandma said, crying as she stroked my hair. Don't stay here with this old woman. The Monroe family can give you a much brighter future. Now that I had reached out to him on my own, he was overjoyed. He found a therapist for me to first address my resistance to English. He also promised to find the best caregiver to look after my grandma so I wouldn't have to worry. I began to throw myself into my treatment, completely focused. Not long after, the college admission results were released. My good friend Sam called to tell me the results were out while I was studying in a quiet room. Even though the result didn't matter anymore, I still logged into the NYU website on my phone. The two words, "not admitted," made my heart sink. In the class group chat, students were excitedly discussing their admission results. Mark posted a screenshot of his message. Congratulations, you have been admitted to NYU. A flood of congratulations followed. Way to go, Mark! You're the best! Mark, you raised your score by over 100 points in just a year. You deserve this. Congrats on getting into NYU. You and Chloe can be together forever. Chloe quickly replied to that person. You again? If you don't know how to talk, just shut up. How many times do I have to say it? There's nothing between me and Mark. My only boyfriend is Alex. Ha! She was still living in her fantasy world. Mark mentioned me. Alex, you blocked me so I can't message you. How did your results turn out? I hope I didn't push you out. Chloe immediately followed up. Alex, did you get in? Their fake concern disgusted me. I immediately left the group chat. A few moments later, Sam sent me a screenshot. Alex must have been rejected. He probably left the group out of embarrassment. Exactly. His English score is so bad, what's the use of being good at other subjects? Sam asked tentatively. Alex, did you really get rejected? Yeah. That bastard Mark, if it weren't for him, you would have gotten in, and he has the nerve to ask you. I comforted Sam. It's okay. I wasn't planning on going to NYU anyway. I've already arranged to study in the States. What? You're going to the States? Does Chloe know? I saw her saying just now that she was going to find a tutor for you to retake the year. She doesn't know. I broke up with her. Sam was stunned. Alex, are you serious? Everyone thought you were just saying that in the heat of the moment. You used to be so devoted to Chloe. I thought you were her little shadow. I paused. I was blind back then, making her the center of my life. From now on, I'm going to be the center of my own. Sam said cheerfully, Alex, what's so great about that Chloe anyway? She was good to you before, so I didn't say anything. But then she and Mark started getting all tangled up under the guise of repaying a debt. I've disliked her for a long time. Just a spoiled brat who thinks she's all that because she has a little money. After hanging up, I checked the time and decided to head home. Downstairs, I saw Chloe waiting for me. Alex, you really didn't get in. She handed me a business card. This is the best tutor I could find. After we get back from our summer trip, I'll go with you to meet him. I'll wait for you at college. I was so tired of her not getting the message. Chloe, we broke up. Please, just don't come looking for me anymore. I have my own plans. I don't need you to arrange my life for me. She patted my arm affectionately. Okay, I was wrong this time. I know you're still mad. She stuffed the card into my hand. I'm going to protect you for the rest of your life. It's not called arranging your life, it's called protecting you, got it? Remember to call the tutor. My Alex is so smart you'll definitely get into NYU next year. I know you don't want to see me right now, so I'll disappear. Watching her walk away, I threw the business card into the trash and vigorously wiped my hand. The spot she had touched felt disgusting. And she had patted my arm. Nope, I had to get home and wash my hair immediately. When I got home, I told my grandma I had been rejected, wasn't going to repeat the year, and was preparing to study in the States. Grandma looked at me with a mix of sadness and acceptance. If MIT is a better school, then of course Grandma supports you going to MIT. You've been by my side for so many years. It's time for you to go be with your grandfather. I hugged my grandma. Grandma, I'm sorry. It's my fault for being useless and getting rejected. Silly boy, your future is what's most important. Don't worry, Grandma is in great health right now, she said, gently patting my back. But does Chloe know you're going abroad? She just came by and said she found the best tutor for you. I didn't want to hide it from her anymore, so I confessed that I had broken up with Chloe. Grandma was taken aback for a moment. But you two were so good together. How did you just break up? Grandma, she's not as good to me as she used to be, so I don't want her anymore. Grandma doesn't understand much, but if you say she's no good, then we won't bother with her anymore. I know we owe the Hayes a debt of gratitude because of my health, but that's my debt to repay. You don't have to pay it for me. A little while ago, Mrs. Hayes asked if we could receive our dividends early. I suspect the Hayes Group might be having some trouble. I'll go and transfer half of my shares to her another day as a way of repaying some of her kindness. I smiled and hugged my grandma tighter. Grandma, you're the best to me. Even though I had blocked Chloe and Mark and left the class group chat, some busybodies still occasionally sent me screenshots of Mark's social feed. Chloe bought him a watch. Thanks to Chloe for the generous graduation gift. Chloe booked a European tour for their graduation trip. Yay, I've never been abroad before. I really owe this one to Chloe. Chloe set off fireworks for him by the river. Chloe said this is to celebrate both of us getting into our dream schools. The comments section was full of compliments. You deserve it, Mark. Chloe is so generous. Hope you and Chloe have an amazing trip. Wow, so all those fireworks were from Mark from Chloe. I swiped through the pictures one by one. The watch in the photo was from my favorite designer brand. The destination on the travel itinerary was Europe, where I had wanted to go. After our exams, Chloe had said she would set off fireworks for me to celebrate when the results came out. Now, all of it belonged to Mark. I blocked everyone who sent me these messages, leaving only Sam and a few other close friends. My phone was finally quiet. At the end of July, the Hayes family held a grand banquet at their hotel to celebrate Chloe getting into college. I didn't want to go, But Mrs. Hayes called and said it was also her birthday party. She said Chloe getting into college was the best gift she could have received. Thinking of Mrs. Hayes's kindness, I reluctantly agreed to attend with my grandma. That day, I arrived at the banquet with my grandma. I noticed that besides the display boards for Mrs. Hayes and Chloe, there was also one for Mark. It turned out they had combined his college acceptance party with theirs. Mark stood at the entrance with his arm linked through Chloe's, welcoming guests like he was the man of the house. When he saw me, he said with a touch of embarrassment, "Alex, we were short on time since we're leaving for our 20-day tour of Europe right after this, so I begged Mrs. Hayes to let us celebrate together. You don't mind, do you?" When Chloe saw me, she quickly pulled her arm away from Mark's. "Alex, I thought you were still mad at me and wouldn't come to my party today." I ignored them both, found Mrs. Hayes in the hall, and gave her a birthday gift. Mrs. Hayes tried to keep me by her side, but I lied and said I wasn't feeling well. I took my grandma to a corner to sit down, planning to leave after the opening speeches. Grandma looked at me with sympathy. "Alex, I can't believe Chloe turned out like this. Now I support you breaking up with her even more." Chloe followed us over. "Alex, you've had me blocked for so long. Can you please unblock me today?" I turned my head away and ignored her. She bit her lip and reached for my hand. "All right, Your Highness, a lot of our parents' friends are asking about you. Don't hide here. Come with me and say hello." I shook my head and pulled my hand away. "I'm not here to congratulate you. I'm just here for Mrs. Hayes's birthday. If you keep this up, I'm leaving right now." She clenched her jaw. "Fine, I'll come to your house tomorrow." My grandma snorted. "My house isn't grand enough for the great Miss Hayes." Chloe looked at us, frustrated. Seeing that we were both ignoring her, she walked away, dejected. From a distance, Mark was cautiously watching us. When he saw Chloe leave, he sidled over. "Alex, did Chloe tell you we're going on a trip? She originally booked it for 3 people, but I reminded her that you need to study. The European tour is 20 days long. As someone who has to repeat a year, you should probably spend that time studying. You're not mad at me for making that decision, are you?" Ever since I decided to go abroad, I really didn't want to deal with these two anymore. I smiled. "Well, I hope you two have a safe trip. Have fun." Mark looked at me smugly. "You're probably dying of jealousy inside, just pretending to be calm." My grandma angrily scolded him. "So young, and already learning to be a homewrecker." Mark's face flushed red, about to argue with her. I swirled the juice in my glass. "It's also Mrs. Hayes's birthday today, so I've let you off once. If you keep standing here, I don't mind splashing this juice on your face, and my hands are really itching to slap someone right now." His expression changed, probably remembering the time I'd slapped his face until it was swollen. "What are you so proud of? Just you wait, you'll get what's coming to you." He stomped his foot and walked away. So bizarre. After the opening ceremony, I went to the restroom, planning to leave right after. But as I was about to leave, I heard Mark's voice. "Chloe, I went to apologize to Alex again just now. I can't believe he's still mad after all this time. He's so petty." On impulse, I hit record on my phone. Chloe's muffled voice came through. "I told you not to provoke him anymore. He can't stand the sight of you right now." Mark's voice turned teary again. "I'm sorry. I feel like I always make things worse. Chloe, is our agreement still on?" Chloe sounded impatient. "I told you I regret it. I don't know what came over me listening to you. I saw Alex today, and he's still angry. All I can think about now is how to win him back." "Chloe, I really didn't think it would turn out like this. I just wanted to give myself a chance. I thought he would never find out that I was the one who pushed him out. After you let it slip, didn't I immediately try to explain for you? He just wouldn't accept my explanation. And are you sure you don't want to give us a try? Being with me would be much more interesting than being with him. It's like I said. Let's leave it up to fate. If Alex gets rejected, he has to repeat a year. We can be together for that year. I'm not greedy. I just want 1 year with you. After that, when Alex comes, I'll back off. Alex will never know. And then your family won't owe me anything anymore. Are you really going to stick with just Alex for the rest of your life? Don't you want to try other guys? My face went pale. These two were even more despicable than I had imagined. Chloe sounded angry. Can you stop bringing up your dad saving my mom? A normal traffic accident settlement would be $1 million or so, and that's it. The condo my family bought you was over $8 million. And I'll say it again. I regret it. I don't want anyone else. I only want Alex. Mark sounded intimidated. Then just one last time. Come with me on this trip to Europe, and after we get back, we'll be even. Okay? Chloe grunted an annoyed, I waited until I heard silence outside before I left the restroom. As soon as I stepped out, I saw Mark waiting for me, arms crossed. He looked at me smugly. I deliberately led Chloe over here so you would hear that. Surprised? The girl who follows you around like a puppy dog sold you out behind your back just to be with me. I stood up straight. Then thank you for helping me see the trash for what it is. Mark's expression twisted. Alex, you should be angry right now. You should be crying. Why are you still so calm? You must be faking it. I cleaned out my ear. Can you stop barking in front of me? I stopped caring about you two scumbags a long time ago. Besides, it sounds like Chloe regrets it, doesn't it? What do you have to be so smug about now? He started yelling. Just you wait. Chloe is just confused by you right now. Once school starts and you two are so far apart, I'll be with her every day, building our relationship. She'll definitely give in and be with me. You just got to her first. Once she's with me, she'll know who's really better. And in the end, you'll be the one she dumps. He really was a psycho. Let me correct you on something. I already threw that piece of trash, Chloe, away. If you like her so much, go ahead and pick her up. I hope you two are miserable together forever. With that, I left the still fuming Mark, found my grandma, and went home. The next day, I packed my bag to go study at the library, but I ran into Chloe waiting for me downstairs. Her eyes were red as she excitedly opened a jewelry box in front of me. Inside was a watch, a matching one to the pair she gave Mark. Look, it's the new watch from your favorite designer. Surprise? She took out the watch and tried to put it on my wrist. I hid my hands behind my back. She kept smiling, trying to please me, and pretended to slap her own face. My lord, I was wrong. I deserve a slap. You've never been this mad at me for so long. I didn't even dare to come find you. Please, I'm begging you, forgive me. Looking at her, I just felt disgusted. She kept talking. I'm leaving for my graduation trip tomorrow. You just stay home and study hard while I'm gone. When I get back, we can start over. I still want you to come with me when I move into my dorm. I'll help you get familiar with the NYU campus ahead of time. I frowned, not wanting to say a single word to her. Finally, she put the watch back in its box and shoved it into my hands. You took my gift, so I'm going to assume you've forgiven me. With that, she ran off. I stood there holding the watch, speechless. Then I turned and threw it straight into the trash. Sam told me that Mark was back to posting non-stop photo grids of his trip on his social feed. Alex, how does he have the nerve? That jerk is doing it on purpose to show off. I laughed coldly. He's an irrelevant person. Why do you care what he does? Sam was concerned about me. Alex, are you really over it? I ignored the faint ache in my heart. It's like squeezing out a boil. It hurts when you do it, but once it's out, the wound slowly scabs over. I should thank Mark. Otherwise, I might have been trapped with a cheater like Chloe for the rest of my life. The therapist my grandfather found for me was excellent. After treatment, I no longer had an aversion to English. I had recently started studying English with a renowned teacher my grandfather hired. The caregiver for my grandma had also arrived. She was very professional and took excellent care of her. Grandma knew I still had to pass the English test to meet MIT's requirements. She was anxious for me to go to the States sooner, saying she was in good hands with the caregiver and I didn't need to worry about her. Thinking about how Chloe said she still wanted me to see her off to college, and not wanting to be disgusted by her anymore, I packed my bags and left for the States ahead of schedule. August in the States was a world away from the sweltering heat back home. As soon as I stepped off the plane, a cool breeze hit me. My grandfather, aunt, and her family were all waiting for me at the arrivals gate. They gave me warm hugs, and my grandfather was so emotional he cried. I was surrounded by everyone as we went back to my aunt's house. My aunt had already prepared a room for me. I used to think I would spend my whole life by my grandma's side, following Chloe. But once I took that step, I realized my grandma could be perfectly fine without me. And without Chloe, I could try so many new things on my own. The family I had once resisted had actually been quietly waiting for me to join them all along. My cousin drove me to language school every day. In the full immersion English environment, I improved quickly. One day at the end of August, I was walking out of school after class. My cousin was there to pick me up. A haggard-looking Chloe suddenly appeared in front of me and lunged, trying to scratch my cousin's face. "So you're the pretty boy who stole my Alex away." My cousin reacted fast. A regular at the gym, she easily restrained Chloe. Held in place, Chloe turned to me with red, tear-filled eyes. "I came back from my trip so excited to bring you presents, and you took the chance while I was gone to run off to the States and get with this little tramp. Alex, how could you have changed so much?" My cousin was furious. "Who the hell are you to police my cousin Alex? And I'm his cousin, you got that? Stop spreading disgusting rumors about him." Chloe froze. "I'm sorry. Alex has never been this close to another girl besides me before. I got too emotional. I didn't know the situation. I'm Alex's girlfriend." I told my cousin to let her go. "We've already broken up. You should go home." Chloe dropped to her knees in front of me. "I'm not leaving. I never agreed to break up. Alex, you can't be this cruel. You're breaking up with me over one college application?" My face was cold. I didn't say a word, just played the second recording, the one from the banquet restroom. Gina's face went white. She clutched my leg desperately. "Alex, it was a moment of weakness. I don't know what happened, but I came to my senses. See? I didn't agree to Mark in the end, did I? Please, give me one more chance. We have 18 years of history. How can we just throw it all away?" Looking at her pathetic state, I just found her repulsive. Yeah, 18 years of history couldn't stop you from having a moment of weakness that could have made my 12 years of hard work worthless. Chloe, you look hideous right now. I already told you, we're done. She wouldn't give up. "Alex, you can't do this to me. Think about my mom. She gave your grandma her liver to save her life." My cousin, hearing this, kicked Chloe aside. "What do you mean, your mom's liver? Wasn't it Grandpa who found the donor for Alex's grandmother? What does your mom have to do with it?" I think I'm starting to get it. "You're that girl from the Hayes family, aren't you? You Hayeses have some nerve. Back when Alex was resisting us, we helped your company out with so much business because you were taking care of him. 3 years ago, your mom came crying to Grandpa, begging him to invest in the nearly bankrupt Hayes Group. And you kept all of this from Alex? Damn. A family partly of leeches who owe their entire lifestyle to Alex has the audacity to demand his gratitude. We were all wondering why Alex suddenly agreed to come to the States for school. Turns out it's because you piece of trash, let some lowlife get him rejected from college. How dare you?" Both Chloe and I were stunned. So what I thought was a life-saving debt was all a lie, just a business transaction. Chloe shook her head in disbelief. No, that's not true. My mom wouldn't lie to me. My cousin viciously grabbed Chloe by the collar. You get the hell out of here right now. If you don't, I'll have someone deal with you. Chloe fled in a panic. After Chloe left, I got a call from Mrs. Hayes. Alex, I didn't mean to hide this from you. I just lost my head. I don't know how to explain it to you. Honestly, even without your grandfather's help, I was already taking care of you. Later, the Monroe Corporation gave us a few big projects. I thought you hated your grandfather because of your mother's history. I just didn't want you to be unhappy, so I kept it from you. As for your grandma, I felt that Chloe, she didn't deserve a boy as good as you. I was being selfish. I thought maybe this would make your relationship more stable. Chloe came back and is now refusing to go to college. She says she wants to follow you and study abroad. Would you let her come join you? I was silent for a long time. Mrs. Hayes, I'm grateful for the help you and your husband gave me and my grandma after my parents passed away. I only just found out that my grandfather repaid your kindness a long time ago. Chloe, you and I, let's not have any contact from now on. With that, I hung up the phone. Having said a final goodbye to Chloe, I threw myself back into my English studies. The following February, I successfully enrolled at MIT, majoring in my favorite subject, physics. Being able to study something I was passionate about, surrounded by like-minded classmates, it was an amazing feeling. Chloe never appeared in front of me again. Later, Sam filled me in on the gossip. Not long after Chloe and Mark's trip to Europe, Mark showed up at the Hayes' house with a child born to his ex-girlfriend, Jessica. Mrs. Hayes found out that Chloe had fertility issues and wanted to make a clean break, giving Mark some money to disappear. But Chloe, as if possessed, insisted on taking responsibility for Mark, marrying him, and raising the child together. Mrs. Hayes called her a fool, but Chloe said she was too ashamed to ever face me again, so it didn't matter who she married. 5 years later, I returned stateside at the invitation of Harvard to be a teaching assistant. My grandfather came back with me and settled down again. The senior colleague who invited me, Dr. Ramirez, was a rival I had met during a competition in college. One evening, I was in the lab testing a hypothesis when Sam called me. Alex, quick, search for Hayes Group online. Chloe's family went bankrupt. I froze. How long had it been since I'd heard that name? Sam was still excitedly dishing out the gossip. Turns out the Hayes family has been on shaky ground for a while. It seems the Monroe Corporation pulled their funding 5 years ago. Her mom was robbing Peter to pay Paul all this time. And this year she finally couldn't hold on. I heard Chloe's whole family is on the credit blacklist. No more Miss Hayes. And I also heard Mark's mom is forcing him to divorce Chloe. She even revealed that the car accident back then was a final act of desperation from Mark's dad, who had cancer. His mom is yelling at him, asking if he really wants to be with a bankrupt nobody and let his dad's death be for nothing. Sam sighed dramatically. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I can't believe it. Turns out Mark actually loves Chloe. Well, I wish them a lifetime of poverty together. Wait, Monroe Corporation? I replied wearily. It's what you think. The Monroe Corporation is my grandfather's company. Sam exploded. What? I can't believe I never knew my best friend was the heir to the Monroe Corporation. I mean, you're a freaking tycoon's heir. Why are you always dressed like a slob slaving away in a lab? Where's the glitz and glamour from? The movies? I just smiled. Physics is more fascinating to me than glitz and glamour. Sam suddenly grew quiet. Alex, you've been so calm today. I thought you'd be as ecstatic as me to hear about Chloe's downfall. I paused for a second. I feel like I just heard some gossip about a stranger. After hanging up with Sam, I called my grandma. Grandma, I'm coming over for your sweet and sour ribs tonight. Time flies. In the end, Chloe was just a fleeting, insignificant character in the story of my life.